Sup, you beautiful bastards? Hope you're having a fantastic Wednesday. Welcome back to the DeFranco Show, and let's just jump into it. And the first thing we're going to talk about today, by far one of the most requested stories of the day today, is YouTube censorship in the news again. YouTube made an announcement in the last 24 hours that has a lot of people concerned. If you're new to this situation, YouTube has been under fire for a while now from all sides. Some saying YouTube is not censoring hate speech, extremist videos enough, others saying that they're going too far, and these guys saying it's great that you're trying to stop ISIS propaganda and recruitment videos, but it also appears to some that YouTube's attempt to stop extremist videos is also resulting in the coming down on channels that have opinions that aren't popular. Essentially, this being an attack on other things. Well, like I said, in the past day, YouTube released a blog post titled, "An Update on Our Commitment to Fight Terror Content Online." They explain better detection and faster removal driven by machine learning. And this part just makes sense to me. Having machine learning is important. The scale is impossible for human beings. Reportedly, 400 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute. And while YouTube even says that these tools are not perfect, there is no reasonable human workforce that would be able to go through this themselves. They then talk about early intervention and expanding counter-extremism work. And they talk about things like their Jigsaw redirect method, which is actually a really interesting program. The idea here being that if someone's searching ISIS recruitment videos, that instead of getting that, they'll find videos with anti-ISIS arguments, interviews with victims of ISIS. Although as of right now, the Jigsaw method is only available in certain markets. But then YouTube talks about their tougher standard. They write, "We'll soon be applying tougher treatment to videos that aren't illegal, but have been flagged by users as potential violations of our policies on hate speech and violent extremism. If we find these videos don't violate our policies but contain controversial religious or supremacist content, they will be placed in a limited state." And they explain the videos will remain on YouTube behind an interstitial, won't be recommended, won't be monetized, and won't have key features including comments, suggested videos, and likes. We'll begin to roll this new treatment out to videos on desktop versions of YouTube in the coming weeks, and we'll bring it to mobile experiences soon thereafter. And they explain that they're going to be able to do this with more experts, saying, "Of course, our systems are only as good as the data they're based on. Over the past few weeks, we've begun working with more than 15 additional expert NGOs and institutions through our Trusted Flagger program. These organizations bring expert knowledge of complex issues like hate speech, radicalization, and terrorism that will help us better identify content that is being used to radicalize and recruit extremists." And so the question becomes, who is YouTube working with here? And the first group they mention, the tip of the spear here, is the Anti-Defamation League. Now that raised a lot of flags for a lot of people. If you remember, the Anti-Defamation League is the organization that officially labeled Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol. That is the first organization that YouTube said is going to help them figure out what content to take down. And I have to say, it concerns me that an organization where I questioned their judgment based on their past, their recent past, was the first group that YouTube threw out there hey, look at who we're with, especially when it's an organization, and I acknowledge that I am a pessimist here. An organization will receive more money, will receive more donations if people go, "Oh my God, hate's everywhere. And Pepe the Frog is a hate symbol, here's money. I didn't know it was that bad." And I'm not saying there's not hate in this world. There is a hate in this world. But with YouTube saying they are getting even tougher and organizations like this are on the front lines, I am very concerned, and I understand why many others are concerned. And that's without even diving into the fact that they say the system isn't perfect. And at the same time, YouTube's talking about a huge chunk of the videos being removed before even one person flagged them. And once again, I talk about stories like this not just because I get dinged every now and then. I don't think that they're going to hit me on this. We no longer solely rely on YouTube revenue anymore, thanks to awesome sponsors that have followed and supporting us for the next year. Thanks to beautiful bastards that are a part of the nation supporting us over at DeFrancoElite.com with their dollar. And I doubt YouTube would do that to our show because they wouldn't want to hit the hornet's nest. But I do mention this because it does seem like a potential freedom of speech problem, and I think that there are a lot of small channels out there that are trying to come up that might be hit by this. And I say that hoping my concerns and my fears aren't ever realized. But with that said, I do want to pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Do you trust YouTube, their machine learning, these organizations that they are now working with? Yes, no, maybe so. I'd love to know what you think in those comments down below. But from that, I want to share some stuff I love today, and today in Awesome brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek, of course, a fantastic ticket app that takes the confusion out of buying tickets. They put all the tickets in one place, rated 0 to 100 based on how good of a deal you're getting. I've got the app on my phone, and it is by far the easiest way to buy tickets to a baseball game, a concert, or whatever. So if you want to download the app like many from the nation already have, click that link in the description down below and use coupon code PHIL for $20 off your first ticket purchase. And the first bit of awesome is this trailer for the movie Body. It's a battle rap satire directed by Joseph Kahn. It's got an all-star cast and it has Eminem on as a producer. And the trailer they released made the battle rap seem like 8 Mile, but on steroids. Simply put, I am just so happy that this is a thing. Then we got a trailer for LBJ starring Woody Harrelson. Then we got a trailer for season 2 of Vice Principals, and I just have to say, if you have not seen this series on HBO yet, fix that. Use your friend's HBO Go login, watch it right now. Danny McBride, Walter Goggins just carry this thing on their back, and it is so fun. Then we got a brand new Adam Ruins Everything on why the Myers-Briggs test is BS. And then we got a new episode episode of You Suck at Cooking for Mozzarella Sticks. And if you want to see the full versions of everything I just shared, the secret link of the day, anything at all, links as always are in the description down below. Then in huge consumer alerts news, if you or one of your friends has one of those foo-foo but totally cute iPhone cases with the glitter and the water, beware, reportedly 275,000 cases are being recalled right now. The style was sold by many popular fashion brands, including Victoria's Secret, Nordstrom, Tory Burch, Henry Bedell, and they were even sold on Amazon. Now, before you throw your case away, keep in mind that it's not all glitter cases. The cases we're talking about here was made by a company called Mixbin, and this recall appears to be from many reports worldwide of skin irritation and chemical burn. One consumer reported permanent scarring from a chemical burn, and another consumer reported chemical burns and swelling to her leg, face, neck, chest, upper body, and hands. And it appears that the reason this is happening is that the liquid inside of the case is leaking out onto people. And the photos people have posted of this happening, they range from, oh, that's kind of bad, to holy what the? If you want to see if your case is being recalled, Mixbin has a website for that, and the company is urging that people stop using these cases and to contact them for a full refund. Then, in a huge update on the Venezuela story that I covered yesterday, you are not going to believe it, but the company that provided the voting system for the election says it was tampered with. Wait, what? The election in Venezuela wasn't legitimate? What? Turns out air is breathable. What? Who could have ever guessed? And the company here that provided 24,000 voting machines so that they did provide very accurate results, but altered results were announced in their place. In fact, the situation is so sketchy, the CEO of Smartmatic himself said that the actual voter turnout differed by at least 1 million. And that's saying something considering Venezuela is publicly stating that 8 million people voted. Although, as you might remember yesterday, international observers said it was probably closer to 2.5. And separately from that, the Reuters news agency reported that inside the government, reportedly Venezuela's electoral authorities said fewer than 4 million votes had been cast just 2 hours before polls closed. And that is in addition to how skewed Maduro made the situation. But even with the international backlash, international condemnation, the opposition in his own country, the facts coming from the company that provided the voting machine, it does appear that Maduro is going to still swear in the new Constituent Assembly this Thursday. And as you'd expect, the opposition is planning a protest and march in coordination with this. I mean, I know that we joke on this show and in our community that facts don't seem to matter anymore, but oh my God, when I say I don't know what's gonna happen next, it's because anything seems to be possible. But we'll just have to wait and see. And then let's talk about the crazy Air Transat situation. If you have not heard, there was a plane full of passengers that were stuck on a tarmac for 6 hours. So let's talk about it. There is this flight from Brussels to Montreal. It's an 8-hour flight, but the weather is bad. They're not able to land in Montreal. They have to divert to Ottawa. So the plane lands in Ottawa. Passengers are told, we're gonna be here for 30 minutes for refueling. But as you know, from the beginning of the story, it doesn't take 30 minutes. So you have this plane of 336 passengers. Everyone just had a long flight. Everyone's a little bit frustrated. Reportedly, there wasn't a lot of food on the plane at this time, so they rationed whatever food was left in the tiny little snacks for the children. They began giving passengers water every 30 minutes, but then quickly ran out. Then the electricity shuts off, which means there's no lights, no air conditioning in this tube of 336 people. Just hearing the descriptions makes me cringe. People were saying there were children that were crying. Passengers became extremely hot. Some had trouble breathing. At least one person threw up. And the entire time, passengers were refused when they requested to deplane. There was also a passenger that was panicking about her dog who was in the cargo, but it appears they didn't do anything for her for hours. It landed at 5 p.m. and her dog wasn't checked until 9:15. Then after 4 hours on the tarmac, someone calls 911. This results in paramedics and police boarding the plane, but the passengers still couldn't get off at this point. Emergency responders distributed water bottles. They also allowed the plane doors to open so that the air could circulate out, but it also reportedly allowed fumes into the plane. But finally, after all of this craziness, the plane gets to take off at 11 p.m. and lands 30 minutes later. They were on the tarmac for 6 hours and then flew 30 minutes. I will never complain about a flight I'm on ever again. Actually, that's a lie. Bitching about air travel is like in my top 20 things to do. Now, somehow, the story gets even better. On Tuesday, Air Transat releases a statement saying, following yesterday's violent late afternoon thunderstorms in Montreal, some of our flights from Europe and the South had to be diverted to other airports. Unfortunately, this unusual situation beyond our control caused delays of several hours for our passengers. Nearly 30 planes with several airlines, including Air Transat, were diverted to Ottawa, creating exceptional traffic there. As a result, Ottawa airport staff were unable to provide with loading bridges or stairs that would have enabled the passengers on the Brussels flight to disembark, or our grounds crew to replenish the aircraft's empty drinking water reservoir. We sincerely regret the inconveniences for our passengers caused by this situation that was beyond our control. So to paraphrase, it was a really shitty situation. A lot of people were delayed, but we weren't able to deboard you and we weren't able to get more water because of the airport. But then the Ottawa airport released a statement that can really only be summarized as bitch what? Saying we had a gate available and air stairs ready in the event that the airline airline decided to deplane. We also had buses on the tarmac ready to shuttle passengers to the terminal. Buses the authority purchased specifically for situations such as this. Neither the ground handling service nor the airline requested either of these during the event. Adding that the airport wasn't even aware of the conditions on the plane until after the police arrived, saying once in the aircraft, airport authority personnel realized that the aircraft had no operating air conditioning. We made arrangements for bottled water to be delivered to the aircraft and distributed by authority personnel. We also offered to bring fans to the aircraft to help cool it, and the airport spokesman closed on. We keep a supply of water, food, diapers, and other personal hygiene necessities to support passenger needs in irregular operation scenarios, and we're prepared to deploy these supplies. Although our staff tried several times to contact the aircrew through the handlers to provide further assistance, the aircrew was non-communicative and did not take us up on our offers to assist further. And that, my friends, is a go fuck yourself in Canadian. And this story isn't just a horrible travel story, this has become a political issue. Politicians have chimed in that instances like this would happen a lot less if they could pass some legislation. And specifically, it would be federal legislation around air passengers' rights. Karen McCrimmon saying, this would establish clear standards for how passengers are to be treated in various situations, including cases of overbooking, delays, cancellations, long delays on the tarmac, and lost or damaged baggage. The bill in question here is known as C-49. Part of it would require airlines, if a flight is stuck on a tarmac for 3 hours, they'll have to supply food, water, and possibly disembark if there can be security. And personally, I have to say, I'm for anything that defends the passengers here, because I feel like airlines in general have a thanks for your money, now go fuck yourself policy. And actually, that's the note that I'm going to end today's show on. Of course, I'd love to know your thoughts, whether it be on the last story, the first one, anything in between. Let me know what you're thinking in those comments down below. And remember, if you liked this video, you like what I try and do on this channel, hit that like button. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Also, if you missed yesterday's Philip DeFranco show, you want to catch up, click or tap right there to watch that. Or if you want to see the newest behind the scenes vlog, click or tap right there to watch that. But that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.